tournament GSA is hosting this time of year. So, hope you guys are ready for some action. These guys are fighting for their lives in this one. This is the final match in the Group D stage. The winner of this one will move on to the playoff bracket alongside Stravos. But both of these guys have taken a loss to Stravos, and this match will determine who moves on to the playoff round. So buckle in, gamers. It should be a nice and close one. TiloTech and MiiWii both losing to Stravos, like I mentioned earlier on in the tournament, but MiiWii did come out just a little bit less fortunate, I suppose, not taking as many points. So the winner of this one really can indeed move on. If you guys are familiar with the format of this particular Dark Side tournament, basically, if you win a match in the group stage, you're going to be given 60 points. The rest of the 30 points that are in the pool will be divvied out depending on how much time it takes for the loser to catch up. So if they are neck and neck and only lose by less than 10 seconds, then the loser will take all 30. But any more than 50 or 5 minutes have gone by, then the winner will take all. So it really can come down to this. MiiWii does have a little bit of his work cut out for him. If TiloTech, let me have a look at the bracket here. If TiloTech does come out with a really fast race, it is possible that he might be able to squeak by, considering MiiWii does not have any points. But if TiloTech wins by any more than probably about a minute and a half, then he will be good to go. So joining me on the microphone, it looks like we have a co-commentator. Oh, I heard a can rustle. I think he's here.
Hello.
yes, he's here.
Hello.
Joining me on the mic is Ganon Slayer. Ganon Slayer, what's up, dude?
Yeah, not much. I saw you guys need an extra slot, and I'm available, so
absolutely.
I might as well jump in.
Well, welcome to the stream. So, we have a very interesting race ahead of us. I was just kind of going over what this race means for these particular runners. This is the last race for Group D in the standings, and
all right.
It looks like the winner of this one will very, very likely move on to the playoff round.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, that's right. So, have you seen how these races went between Stravos and TiloTech and Stravos and MiiWii? Do you have any kind of thoughts going into this one, Ganon Slayer, as to who's going to come out on top?
I saw Stravos versus TiloTech, but I did not see MiiWii's race. But I did see that Tylo definitely has a lot of potential in this category, but I do not. I'll be honest, I have no clue what MiiWii's PB is or what his like skill level is. Do you happen to know what it is? I know Tylo has like 150 or 149, I think.
He just topped off with a 149, I think, yesterday. So he has finally breached the 150 club. But
That's
it
nice.
looks like, looking at the Group D standings here, it does look like that Stravos was able to take the full 90 points in his game against MiiWii. MiiWii is currently sitting at 0. So yeah, it does look like perhaps the difference between TiloTech and MiiWii is not really enough to change the course of things. It will really be a winner takes all type of situation here.
Dang. All right. That's exciting.
Now these guys are setting up for the daylight savings time manipulation here. So if you guys have no idea what is going on necessarily, these guys are looking to essentially change their switch dates to a particular time, and this time is very, very important because as they are approaching the Sand Kingdom, it's going to change over into daylight savings time, and that might not really mean a whole lot to any of you guys, but it does have particular context in this race. Ganon, do you want to tell us why?
Oh, so for daylight savings time abuse, or DST as you were saying, basically there's a seed moon in the Sand Kingdom, right? And normally what's supposed to happen is you plant the seed moon and then you wait around, I think it's 18 minutes real time for the seed to grow. But what's going to happen is they're going to try to plant the seed in time so that when they enter a sub area in the Sand Kingdom, daylight savings time is going to activate and push the switch time forward an hour, which will make the seed spawn immediately when they exit the sub area.
That's right. And this is something that we've actually been able to do forever. We essentially, if you were to plant this seed and then change your switch date forward 20 minutes, the seed would start growing as well. But the reason that we're setting our clocks ahead of time and trying to time this seed's growth is so that we don't have to do that. So we don't have to lose time going into the menu itself. And a very, very clever trick that was found probably about 2 months ago now, and has been utilized in just about every category since as a result. So very fascinating trick. Very, very cool party trick that you can show your friends too if you know about it. And just so happens to be really fast, which is why we use it.
Yeah. It's cool how stuff like that is just found too. Like right when you think you found everything, someone comes out like, "Hey, you can set your time back and do daylight savings time to spawn a moon early." It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. That one catches a lot of people by surprise. You know, it's the kind of thing you would expect from like an Animal Crossing speedrun or something, but not necessarily from Super Mario Odyssey. So very cool stuff here.
Yeah.
Now, anybody familiar with any percent runs, you're going to see these guys grab this checkpoint. It's not something you usually do in any percent, and that is because Dark Side is a category that includes some post-game. So these guys are actually going to be approaching the end of the game at around the 1 hour and 10-minute mark or so, and then they actually have to go through quite a bit of the game afterwards in order to collect some moons and go to the dark side of the moon. So that checkpoint is there to make the return trip to Cap Kingdom a little bit easier.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna be grabbing essentially double the moons you would normally for any percent. And out of Cap Kingdom, looks like MiiWii has the early lead, but not by much. Maybe 1 or 2 seconds.
Just having a little bit cleaner of a Cap Kingdom. And he will be taking the advantage going into Cascade. And you know, I've watched these guys run since the very beginning days of my Super Mario Odyssey speedrunning career. They've been around probably longer than I have, in fact, and it has been very interesting to see their development and growth. TiloTech has always been a consistent runner, very strong, very steady. MiiWii tends to take me by surprise a little bit. You don't really know what he's up to or what he's doing, and then he kind of just like comes out of the woodwork with new PBs and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really interesting to see this kind of matchup here, and we'll see just how it plays out.
Yeah, actually this is very close now since MiiWii missed the moon a little bit. Had to go back to grab it, so yeah. Lead down to like half a second, I think.
Yep, very, very close bridge drop here.
And I guess it's worth pointing out, in Cascade 1, there's only going to be one real difference to what you're used to seeing at any percent if you watch that category. And that's going to be that they're going to grab both the Cliff Moon and the Chest Moon at the end, just to get an extra moon. The moon is fast and it's there, and since we need to get extra moons, you might as well grab that here.
That is right.
Yeah.
We do revisit Cascade in this particular category, but these 2 moons are kind of out of the way, so doing them fast here will make them very optimal. Looks like TiloTech is actually having a little bit of trouble with the Dino Skip here, so he's going to have to kind of bring the Dino back around in order to execute the trick, giving MiiWii the definitive lead coming into this Madame Brutal fight.
Yeah, and that also might mess with his DSTA timing as well. Since I mean, it's a pretty tight window, but there is some room for leeway. I'll have to see like his Cascade exit to make a definitive standpoint on that. But yeah, as you were saying, MiiWii out to the early lead through the Banana Brood fight.
It's still very early. Still, anything can happen. MiiWii is going to be taking just a tiny bit of a lead here as a result of that, though. Going for the spin pound roll cancel strategy there. Tylo going for a little bit more of a simpler approach to grab the moon there. Basically anything you do there is going to be pretty fast, but what MiiWii was going for there with the spin pound, if you can get that absolutely optimal spin pound, is the kind of thing that you want to be doing for the optimal time.
Yeah, definitely.
And now, like you said, this movement here is going to be very reminiscent of the 1.0 any percent route. They're actually going to be going for both above a high cliff and the treasure of the waterfall basin here.
Alright, so MiiWii grabbing this moon. And then, like you're saying, just like 1.0, he's going to be going down, getting the chest moon, and attempting chest clip. At least I would assume so. Yep, setting up for that. Falling off the chest. Might still be able to make that work. Nah, alright. So I don't know if Tylo's is gonna work either. Dang, alright. So both runners missing chest clip, so no real lead change difference happening here, but I'm interested in their cascade fadeouts to see if DSTA is gonna work for both of them. I'm pretty sure MiiWii is 100% fine, but I don't know about Tylo. So yeah, MiiWii exiting with the 553, 552. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about Tylo. That looks a little tight.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the wire. I think the leeway here is about 5 seconds is what they usually try and set their timer to. So basically, this seed is going to grow at when the timer ticks over 6:55. So they have to get the seed planted before 6:55 in order for this trick to work. And now, part of the reason that this trick works so well is that there is a nearby sub area that they are entering. If this sub area didn't exist, the seed would start growing after 6:55, but you would have to watch it. You would have to sit there and watch it grow. But because we go into a sub area, it kind of does all of that automatically for us. But yeah, as you can see, the timer is like very, very ominous as it kind of ticks over. TiloTech is going to be trying his best to roll into town. MiiWii is going to be getting it just fine. He's about 10 seconds early.
Ooh. MiiWii bonking, but
TiloTech.
Oh, that's gonna be
squeezed
close.
it in. That's gonna do just fine. Very nicely done by TiloTech.
No. MiiWii having some issues here, actually.
He luckily caught the bird. He was able to get the moon from the bird. No problem there. But yeah, definitely some sloppy movement when it comes to all of this DST movement. And as a runner, I can say that Sand Kingdom got significantly easier because we didn't have to do the Sphinx clip anymore. That was probably the most aggravating part of Sand Kingdom in 1.0. However, it replaced it with all of this very awkward, clunky movement. A lot of the time in this movement, the camera just does not cooperate with you at all. So you kind of have to work around it in a way, and it can be kind of frustrating to deal with, as you can see with both of these runners kind of fumbling with the movement.
I can 100% agree with you on that. It did get easier for 1.0, but the movement now, it's like, it's hard to get consistent strats for this movement. It's just so clunky. There's a lot of randomness. Well, not necessarily randomness. It's just not stuff that you would normally do.
Yeah, it's very not fluid, I guess is the way to put it. Is you kind of just have to work with it. It's very easy to get things like value dives. After you've thrown the seed into the pot, there's just a bunch of nonsense in town. But both of these guys are managing to get past. It looks like TiloTech has actually taken a little bit of a definitive lead after that section, catching up to MiiWii.
Yeah, Tylo was just barely able to make that DSTA movement work, but it's a good thing that he did because now he's out to lead. Both going for Drim. Tylo's looks good if he homed in properly. MiiWii's too low and he slid on the wall. I think he was too low. Oh, actually making it work.
Wow.
Okay.
With the wall slide.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Wait, what happened to Tylo? Did he uncapture the bullet bill? Maybe like
I'm not sure. That's very strange. These guys are these guys going for late crate? Is that a thing that we do in Darkside?
Yeah. It's gonna be they're gonna do the Sphinxless movement like you would for like 1.2 any percent if you remember that, and then you're just gonna do like the late crate like for 1.3. Alright. So, MiiWii back out to a lead. I've already seen a couple of lead changes this run. We're only like 9 minutes in. I have a feeling this is going to be exciting.
Yeah, keeping it nice and close. And like we mentioned earlier, this race does really determine who gets to go on to the playoff round. So, tensions are high. Stakes are high here.
Yep. Alright. So as you were saying, they are going to be grabbing this crate moon late, getting the late crate movement, and now, if you're familiar with 1.0 any percent, you'll recognize this route as well. Was very fast in 1.0, and it's still fast in 1.3, even without the Sphinx clip.
Yes, that is right. Approaching from a different angle and kind of doing things in a different order than they do in any percent here, but that's just to accommodate getting some extra moons.
Yep, grabbing 2 extra moons. Ooh, Tylo with the weird Jaxi skip strat. I remember that. That always scares me when he does that. He hits it like super far to the left, and then dives up right. That looks like it would be way riskier than just doing it the more traditional way, but it works for him.
Sometimes you just get into a rhythm. You know what works for you, and you just kind of stick with it.
Yeah, that's definitely true. All right.
Now, just like any percent, finishing up in the Oasis here, getting this ground pound moon among the burbs, and then we are going to be on our way to this palm tree. See if we can get some optimal notes here.
Let's see. Okay, MiiWii. That's gonna be. Ooh, Tyler with the roll on the tree. That was. I don't know if that was intentional, but it looked really cool.
And might have even made up a little bit of time there. So both of these guys kind of shifting the lead back and forth in the Sand Kingdom. MiiWii came in with the lead, and he is going to be leaving with the lead, even though TiloTech did manage to get a little bit of cleaner movement at the beginning portion. But still a very close race.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like we're going to be getting around 1140s for both of them. Looks like an 1139 for MiiWii maybe. And like an 1142 or 43 for TiloTech. Yeah, so 3 seconds of difference. Very close race out of CCS. And now, I guess it's worth saying here as well, Lake Clip helps a lot more in this category than it did in any percent. So even if you're not the most consistent at Lake Clip, if you can do it, it's probably worth going for since it saves way more than it would in any percent.
Yeah, it's actually crazy. So this particular category does come back to Lake as a revisit. So the way that we're going to do Lake Kingdom is just a little bit different than we would in any percent. We do want to defeat Rango, because if we defeat Rango, it will open up the Moon Rock in the post game, which is something that can open up a lot of very quick moons in this tiny little kingdom. So what you're going to see these guys do instead of going up to the zipper first is they're going to grab this moon first. They're going to come down into the water, grab this really quick moon.
Ooh.
Tyler's having a little bit of difficulty capturing the cheap. He's just going to grab the moon as Mario. That seems to be the right play.
Yeah. Alright. Both runners had a little bit of jankiness with that, but making it work.
Anyways, bit of awkward movement, but we're on our way, grabbing the zipper moon, and then this is where we're going to see Lake Clip here.
Okay, that looks good. MiiWii nailing it second try if he can get the out of bounds movement. Ooh.
And Tylo on the first try.
Wow. Alright.
Excellent stuff from these gamers. So,
yeah. Ooh.
Tylo may be able to make up a little bit of time here.
Yeah.
But yeah, just about as close as it was at the beginning of the kingdom. Some sloppiness grabbing that cheap crossing moon, but here they are on their way up to the warp here.
Yep. Alright. So yeah, now we're gonna do Lake Clip and we're gonna go fight Rango here. It's a very convenient spot to reach Rango from, actually.
Part of what makes this so fast, exactly, is the fact that you can just long jump across into the arena without having to swim, without having to do any crazy fish jumps. You might be wondering, well, there is still that pillar moon that they did not grab, and the one on Dory, and those are very speedy moons, but we are coming back to the Lake Kingdom later, and they will be right in our path, ready to go. No worries about that.
Yep. And MiiWii also missing the Rango coins, but that should not be that big of a deal. There's a lot of extra coins that you can grab along the way, although Dark Side coin routing is decently tight, since you need to get 5... How many Shaboons do you need? I know you need 1,000 coins for an achievement. That's the main thing. You need to get 1,000 coins for an achievement later on to grab an extra moon from Toadette.
That's right. And the Toadette moons in this game, of course, while they seem very slow, we just sit there and talk to her. They are incredibly fast, so if we can go about getting coins in a way to nail that achievement, then we get a very free moon at the end just waiting for us. Even if it only takes us like an extra couple seconds to gather some pretty close coins, then it is worth. Because the cutoff in this category is, I can't remember the exact number, but somewhere between like 18 and 19 seconds each moon in this category takes. So if we're able to fit in some Toadette moons as well, those are really fast.
Yeah, definitely. Alright, so now we're going to go into Wooded Kingdom, and this is going to be exactly the same as any percent. There's no differences in Wooded, and we won't be revisiting this. Well, I guess there is technically a difference if they miss Nut Cliff. There's a backup route where you grab 4 extra moons. which would be faster if they miss nut clip, but if they're able to get nut clip, then this will be no different from the any percent wooded route.
That's right. And here's
Alright.
hoping both of these guys are able to nail that trick, because yes, routing completely on the fly can be a little bit of a frustrating thing to do, so hopefully these guys are able to nail that down.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna be approaching nut clip now. I'm assuming that neither runner goes through a tree route, but I could be wrong. Actually, yeah, okay. MiiWii almost faked me out there, kind of went to the right a bit. But we're approaching the nut clip now.
Maybe the first to get there. Both of these nut clips look very good. TiloTech actually had a bit of a faster setup, and so he's going to be making up a little bit of ground. And these backflips are almost perfectly in sync. Both of these guys going to have to do the perfect wall jump, both grabbing the moon, making sure that they don't come back and bounce in the box, and both are coming out. And TiloTech actually the one in front after this nut clip. Very, very solid execution from him. You can see that he's got just a little bit of a cleaner line all the way through.
Yep. MiiWii with the spin pound strat onto the nut as well. Slightly more optimal. Yeah, overall it's good. It's just good that both runners got nut clip, because if not, there could have been some weird routing shenanigans going on.
Yeah, it's very possible that we would not have really known who was ahead or behind, because one runner would be taking a completely different path. Of course, we don't revisit wooded, so if you do flail and you kind of forget that there is that option to reroute the kingdom, you could always just go about doing the absolute oldest wooded route and just go ahead and try and complete the kingdom the same way. It would be 30 seconds slower, however, but it is maybe worth just for your own sanity. But these guys don't have to worry about that at all, thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully. Alright. MiiWii having a bit of issues with like the movement, bonking a couple times, but Tylo also took damage, so he's gonna be getting some health refresh. Tylo grabbing that moon at 1742, MiiWii at 1747, so yeah, around like 5 seconds of difference here. I'd say this is around the halfway point of Wooded Kingdom. It's probably a good marker. Now setting up for Flower Road Skip, Tylo nailing the triple jump. MiiWii doing the same. No shenanigans happening here. Let's see. And both making their way up to the Nut Moon. Perfectly fine. No issues. As they enter the tower.
Yep, all very reminiscent of any percent, as you guys are sure to know.
Yep. Alright.
And one definitive kind of aspect of Wooded Kingdom that is relatively new, I suppose, in the terms of Super Mario Odyssey's speedrunning, is that for this route, we're not going to bother with the Spewer fight at all. We're just going to go ahead and skip it. There are a couple of extra moons that we can get along the way that can eliminate the cutscene associated with the fight. TiloTech taking a bit of a risky spin down there.
I no clue if that was intentional, but either way, that's yikes. MiiWii having to back it up, getting weird return jumps during trying to triple jump. Just some janky movement from both runners here, but still making it work.
That spin pound from TiloTech was very, very close to the edge there, but he's able to continue along with the stage. Taking a couple bonks, grabbing this checkpoint. Not sure...
to refill health, probably.
To refill health, yes, perhaps. But it has actually lost him the time, and MiiWii is now back on top again.
Wow, alright.
Fascinating stuff. This race just like, it seems to go this way, doesn't it? MiiWii is on top in the beginning of the kingdom. He doesn't really nail the beginning movement, and TiloTech takes the lead for most of the kingdom, and then as the kingdom comes to a close, TiloTech hands it right back. So...
Huh, that's pretty close race here, yeah. Actually looks like it's a round tied. It's kind of crazy.
Yep, MiiWii still holding on to like a 1 or 2 second lead all the way through this. It's crazy that it's been this close with how much shenanigans have happened through each of the kingdoms here.
Yeah, definitely. Alright. So going into Cloud now, there is the option to grab a Luigi coin hint art in Cloud Kingdom, but it is extremely hard, number one, to find the hint art while you're doing the fight, and number two, to continue the fight after grabbing the hint art, because what you would try to do is grab it during a middle Bowser phase, and then rush over to Bowser to get the fast hat strat right after. So I doubt either runner would go for it, but if they did, they could eliminate a hint art from later in the run.
Yes, and while that would be optimal, it is extremely difficult to do. This is something that not even like the top most any percent runners are able to kind of accomplish in their own attempts. So to see it happen in a race here might be a little bit risky. Probably won't see it from both of these guys. Yeah, you see MiiWii just rolling towards Bowser here. So no attempts at the Cloud hint art here.
Yeah, not surprising, to be honest. It's a very risky strat to save only a couple of seconds. And you can see both runners actually have their own ways of doing the Bowser manipulation. That was pretty cool. They both hit him to different spots, but still got him to only jump one space.
Yes, I think the way that TiloTech is doing it is just slightly more optimal because MiiWii is actually punching him all the way across the arena, whereas TiloTech is just going for that optimal 2 spaces away.
Yeah. Alright. So MiiWii's still holding on to like a 1 or 2 second lead here, going into Lost.
And now this kingdom in particular is very, very drastically different from any percent. If you guys are familiar with any percent runs, this is another kingdom that is very small, very compact. So it makes an excellent candidate for grabbing fast moons in the post game. So we're actually going to be doing this quite a bit differently than we do in any percent. Starting with this moon, of course, doing this meme tree still extremely important because we do not want to trigger Klepto. But now we're going to see a little bit of a difference here.
Ooh, MiiWii doing the free running ending here. Slightly more optimal if you're able to do it quickly, but I don't know if the way he did it even saved time. Basically, you can land on the far back end of the switch to do that movement insanely fast. But either way, it's still making it work. And yeah, here you're going to see a lot of difference from any percent, as you were saying.
Yes, and because it is such a compact kingdom, there are a lot of very quick moons that we don't really touch in any percent, but they do still exist, are still very helpful. You can see that MiiWii is actually going for a little bit of a safer way of doing this, definitely just like taking his time, not really worrying about taking a death here because it would send him back to the top of the stage. So he's going to be playing it really safe, but as a result, giving TiloTech the lead here.
Yep. Alright. Ooh, Tylo bonking on the inside of the cave gardening there. And he's trying to spin throw, but the game is just giving him motion control cap throws over and over. So yeah, this still pretty close. Gonna be heading over to the branch moon after cave gardening. And now here, since they did not opt for the cloud hint art, they're gonna be grabbing this hint art right here.
Yep. Each Toad hint art is going to be 200 coins, or Luigi, I suppose.
Yeah, they're both. Well, all of them are worth 200 coins, like you were saying. And a lot of them are close to where you would normally route it anyways, so it's just like free coins for the achievement later.
That is right, and we want to be trying to get as many of these free coin hint arts that we can in order to make it to that achievement of 1,000 coins. Used to be that 1.0 was the optimal version for this category, and we did not route in 1,000 coins because the hint arts were not available to us. But now with 1.3, a lot of them are readily available, and therefore we do make it work.
Yep. Alright. So Tylo now actually out to a pretty sizable lead out of Lost 1. Like...
This might be the first kingdom that he is actually in the lead for.
Yep, going into Night Metro, it's going to be in the lead. Metro is going to be very similar to any percent with just like a slight change in Day Metro, but I'm pretty sure Night Metro is exactly the same.
Yeah, Night Metro just going about the any percent movement, going up to the Wiggler, grabbing a couple quick moons along the way.
Yep.
But the definitive thing about Darkside for me, when I watch Darkside, I kind of think of it as like a little bit of a Frankenstein amalgamation of all of the any percent routes that have ever existed, because there are a lot of moons that are basically borderline when it comes to any percent. There's a couple moons that just don't quite make the cusp that we leave out or have had in the past and we realize we're kind of slow. But when you play Darkside, you're looking to get to 250. So if it was on the cusp before, it probably does make it into this category just because it is so fast to get along the way. And if you're not revisiting a kingdom, you might as well grab all of those kind of borderline moons along the way. And Metro Kingdom is one of those examples.
Yeah, definitely. Alright. Now we're going to be approaching the Mecha Wiggler fight. Definitely not my personal favorite boss. Probably one of my least favorites in the game. It's killed so many runs, just not exactly the best program thing, I guess you could say. The hitboxes can be kind of wonky, and you can get bad patterns in the second phase as well.
Certainly, yes. The patterns are one of the most like RNG heavy elements of this entire run, which I mean doesn't really say a whole lot. There isn't a whole lot of RNG in this game, but this is one of those major elements. Just about any pattern can be two-cycled though, if you know what you're doing. And I think the main problem with this boss fight is that the hitboxes are not intuitive. You would think if you make a straight line, if you shoot a straight line towards the orb that you need to hit, it would trigger, but the hitboxes kind of overlap themselves and you kind of have to aim away from the other hitboxes more so than aiming at the ones you want to hit, and that's what makes this fight particularly tricky. So we'll see how these guys do. TiloTech the first to approach the second phase, getting a pattern that is going to cross across the bottom from the right side, but he doesn't even need to wait for that. He's already got those hits in. Just a little bit of sloppiness on the last hit. Meanwhile, MiiWii getting a pattern that looks quite the opposite, crossing across the bottom from the left side in a much, much cleaner execution on this Wiggler fight and making up a little bit of time on TiloTech.
Yeah, definitely. So no weird pattern. No weird patterns here. Both patterns are very easily two-cyclable, so that's very good. Coming out of Night Metro here, MiiWii definitely made up a little bit of time on Tylo.
And into Day Metro. Now it'll be interesting to see what route these guys take to get through Day Metro. See if there are any sort of bullet building shenanigans in this run.
Yeah, bullet building definitely optimal, but might not be worth going for when there's other routes available. We'll see what these runners choose to do. Okay. Both runners performing the Metro Dram strat. Make Tylo now approaching Scoot Clip, getting that perfectly. Ooh, MiiWii making it work as well. And here you're going to see the main difference from any percent. They are going to be going into the shop to grab this moon. And this is another one that was kind of like on the cusp because the shop is obviously fast. Right, like the shop is right here. You can just jump out and go into it in this category to grab a nice quick moon.
Yes, that is right.
Right.
And then just on their way, like they did before, in any percent here. And yeah, just on the cusp. I think what they do in any percent for this optimal bullet bill route is they go for the slots room, correct?
Yeah, slots moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that might also be due to the fact that you probably won't have the coins to go to this shop moon in any percent anyways.
Yes, very true. Because you won't be approaching the hint art until we get to essentially the later part of Day Metro, just a little bit too late.
Mm-hmm. Alright, and here you're going to be seeing another little difference. They're going to be grabbing this coin hint art on the road, and Tylo is making his way over to bullet building. So, let's see how this goes. This is definitely a pretty challenging sub area.
MiiWii
Ooh.
going to be following suit as well. But unfortunately, TiloTech not getting quite the jump on that. And the problem with this particular sub area is that it's very cycle based. So now that he's missed this, he's going to try and basically set up something else to just back it up. Going to be losing a little bit of time as a result of that, but still a very fast sub area nonetheless.
MiiWii is definitely on the cycle if he can make this instant capture work. Wow, okay.
He gets it.
That one looked a little close to me, dude. I don't know. He got closer to the bullet bill than I would imagine would work, but still making it work, so props to him. That's going to be saving a little bit more time on TiloTech as well.
Yep, trying to come back with this comeback here.
Yep.
We do just have a little bit left in Day Metro. This is all going to be very reminiscent of any percent. So you're going to see these guys climb up to the dizzying heights moon here. Take a spin pound off the top, perhaps. Oh, TiloTech doesn't look like he's got a good setup for that, but that's okay. Down to the pool moon. There's another hint art waiting for us in the pool that we can grab very quickly.
Yep. MiiWii was in a position to do the spin pound, but he opted to not go for it. And as you said, grabbing the coin hint art, and then they're going to be making their way into the people's room now. Another very fast sub area to grab 2 more moons and finish up the Metro Kingdom.
Yep, just like any percent, just like clockwork, we're going to finish this sub area, and then we're going to be on our way.
Yep. Little moon grab sync here.
And notice no need for musicians in this route. By collecting the shop and the bullet building sub area, you avoid having to talk to any of the musicians, and also that piled on the rubble moon that is by the bassist. So that is what is going to allow us to leave Metro Kingdom with the right amount of moons here.
Yep. Alright, so Tylo exiting with a 3240. And MiiWii around 10 seconds behind that. Actually looks like almost exactly 10 seconds behind that.
Still anybody's game. We are about a third of the way through the run now, maybe a little bit less. And approaching Snow Kingdom. And this one is another kind of metro, or sorry, not metro, so any percent kingdom with one distinct difference that is just kind of a very important detail. And if you miss it, then you will lose some time in the later game, and you might not even realize. But there is a hint art that these guys are going to be wanting to look at once we approach the Shivarian town. If we don't look at it, then it will not spawn a moon later on in the game in the Lost Kingdom.
Yep. It's going to be the one difference here. But for now, they're going to be making their way up to Captain Toad just like any percent. And then, like you said, as they enter the Shibaria town, before they get the first moon, they're just going to take a quick detour, look at the hint art, and then do the rest of the kingdom like you would in any percent. And we're going to be seeing Tylo doing this first. Looking at the hint art, now just going over to the moon like you would in any percent.
Grabbing it nice and quick. MiiWii, of course, doing the same thing here, looking at this hint art. And yes, on their way through the kingdom, just as you would in any percent. See if these guys are brave enough to go for the moon clip. I'm kind of curious to see myself.
Let's see.
Oh, TiloTech sets up for it.
That looks good, I think? Nah, okay. I'm only used to looking at it from the other camera angle, so I couldn't exactly tell. Looks like MiiWii's setting up for it as well.
MiiWii?
I don't know.
No,
Yeah, no.
just
All
unfortunately.
right. At least both went for it, though.
That little, yeah, that little detail in the wooden pillar that stands kind of keeping up the kingdom there, that detail can kind of push you out of the wall if you're too close to it, and I think that's kind of what happened to both of these guys here.
Ah, okay. Okay, so... now they're gonna be finishing up the poison room. And it looks like both runners not having any real issues with this room, other than MiiWii kind of missing the spin pound on the Secret Moon. Okay, so now they're going to be going to the Goomba room, just like any percent. We'll be grabbing the quick Secret Moon in here, then getting the Story Moon, and exiting out. Looks like Tylo's got some weird Goomba RNG, but still making it work, setting up, leaving the Goombas, grabbing this moon in the wall here. I'm going to be doing a stylish roll cancel triple jump, making his way over to the Story Moon. Very clean Goomba room from Tylo. So now we're going to see MiiWii try to do the same. Trying to do the optimal bonk, unfortunately bonking slightly too far to the right. Still making his way with the roll cancel triple jump though. Very nice. Okay, so now both runners are gonna get the shot moon and then set up for Snowdram.
And Snowdram, of course, still the scary trick that it is. I kind of recommend that people do give it a try, though. If you're at the level where you're willing to try left side in the Cap Kingdom, then you might be at the level where you might want to attempt the Snowdram as well. I compare those tricks to be rather similar. In fact, the mechanics are very much the same.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Alright. Tylo's setting up. Okay, scared me a bit with that one. It's very close to missing it, but making it work. Now hopefully MiiWii will be able to do the same.
Taking his time on the setup, probably the smart thing to do. Oh, and he doesn't get the proper that he's looking for, but does make it back onto the Odyssey cleanly in order to set up again.
Yep. Alright, that vault looks good. Good cap bounce vector, making that work as well.
Cleared it by a landslide, so very good attempt by MiiWii there. But as a result of that, TiloTech is going to be stretching his lead just a tiny bit more over MiiWii here.
Yep. Tylo definitely has a pretty comfortable lead now. If I were to guess just by eyeballing, maybe 25 seconds. But of course, we're still only around a quarter of the way through the run.
And into Seaside.
Yep.
Now, when this tournament started, Seaside did have a little bit of a different looking route in Seaside. But I think that as a result of some optimization for some other moons that exist within the category, we are able to basically just do the any percent movement here. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm pretty sure Seaside is just the any percent movement.
Yeah, it does appear to be that way. So, yeah, as a result, I think that this kingdom used to have 3 other moons in it.
It did.
We used to go and we used to capture a Gushin and go on a little bit of an adventure. We used to get What the Waves Left Behind. We used to get the back cavern or whatever. I can't remember the name of that moon, but
Back Canyon.
Back Canyon, yeah, excavation or
Excavation,
something along those lines, as well as Captain Toad. And we've just realized that a lot of those moons, because of like cutscenes and because of kind of going out of the way, they're actually rather slow, and they make this kingdom quite a bit slower than it is in any percent. And so we're able to route in some other quick moons along the way in the rest of the game rather than do Seaside any differently. So it used to be that Seaside had a different route for every single main board category in this game, but now we've actually taken that and changed it. So Dark Side looks exactly the same as it does in any percent.
Yep. Alright. So yeah, speaking of the any percent movement, we are going to be seeing Fish Clip here. On Tylo's side first. After this moon, he's going to be setting up the Cheep Cheep in a specific way, uncapturing it and recapturing it. To try to clip through here and grab a couple of quick out of bounds moons. Well, I guess moons from out of bounds. Let's see. Looking good. able to grab this moon quickly, and then he's going to be entering the Sphinx room loading zone from below.
The most powerful part about this moon clip is that you can just access the loading zone from behind, not having to talk to the Sphinx at all, and making this moon extremely fast.
Yeah, definitely. MiiWii having a little bit of trouble setting it up. You have to approach that area from the right side to get the cheap in the right spot.
MiiWii actually missing the fish clip here as a result of not coming back in bounds with Mario. Gonna get it on the second try, though. So
Alright.
just a couple more kind of sloppy movement.
Okay.
MiiWii playing it kind of risky here.
Yeah.
Don't want to clip back in bounds because then we will have that problem we were talking about before, talking to the Sphinx, wasting probably 20 to 25 seconds. So
Yeah,
luckily did
definitely
not come
not.
back in bounds.
Yeah, definitely not the ideal situation.
And now into Luncheon. And Luncheon is one of those big, sprawling kingdoms. You don't really like to see revisits in Darkside to these big kingdoms, so this is going to be a one-time visit. However, like we said before, there are a couple of any % moons that have been rejected in the past that do make their way into Darkside, namely this Potaboo sub-area towards the end that they will be going into.
Yeah, there was a pretty big debate over Forks Room versus that room in any %, I'm pretty sure. Eventually, Forks Room came out on top, but in this category, since we need to grab, 126 more moons than in any %, they are going to be grabbing that sub-area as well, since it's kind of along the way. And offers some pretty quick moons.
And despite MiiWii being behind in this race, it does appear that he's actually on pace to PB by quite a huge margin. Chat is saying minus 140 at this point in the run, so
Jeez.
Very solid performance from MiiWii here still.
That's really good, yeah. It's always nice to see.
And as he approaches the Spirit fight, notice that he's grabbing all the coins that he can as he's doing this Spirit fight. How many hint arts is it that we get in this run? Is it 4 or is it 3?
I'm trying to think. So there's
Lost, 2 Metro, and then Ruined.
Okay, so yeah, so 4.
So basically, we're looking to make up the rest of those 1,000 coins from the rest of the game. You need 200 coins from the rest of the game, and it just so happens that, when bosses are fought, they spit out probably somewhere in the ballpark of like 30 coins themselves. So, using that downtime, waiting for the boss to continue in order to grab those coins.
Yeah. You can definitely grab quite a couple coins from bosses throughout the entire run.
And the rest of this looking just like any %, of course.
Until the very end of the kingdom.
Exactly. Right towards the end, we'll be popping into a sub area for a quick moon. Quick couple moons, rather.
Yep. And that sub area is also a pretty dangerous one. There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong there. It's
Certainly.
not exactly the friendliest sub area.
Very treacherous sub area, to be sure. If you haven't got your practice in for it, yeah, you basically you just have to take it slow, or else you go back to the beginning and lose a bunch of time. Looks like TiloTech was going for the camera manipless version there, but did not get the spin pound to come out properly, so he's gonna have to just wait for the Potaboo to come around. Not a huge time penalty, still has a pretty commanding lead over MiiWii here.
Yeah, definitely. As he goes into the Forks room, making short work of it. Very nice Forks from Tylo.
MiiWii here is going to opt for the camera manip version. Oh, but he's not going to be able to make it across the island, so he's going to grab the checkpoint for the health and then make his way across. And yeah, he's not going to be in time for that Potaboo either, so he's going to have to wait for it to come around. But TiloTech the first to approach this movement. This is where the turnip clip used to exist, but instead we're going to see a climb up to the top here. without grabbing this turnip, going on to the cheese moon, and we do have to grab this the kind of intended way.
Yeah, now the 1.3 is a thing. Ooh, TiloTech with the spin throw instant capture.
Very snazzy.
Ooh.
Oh,
Okay.
but he's actually going to be killing his... Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if he was able to get Cappy in and pull the lever without that first cheese block being destroyed, but he did do it just fine.
Yeah, alright. Okay, so MiiWii's now going to be approaching that climb up to this moon now. Making his way up on the left side. It's slightly easier, the ground is a little lower there. Getting sniped by the Pambro though.
Getting bodied by it, that is okay. Gonna just have to suffer through the damage refill after grabbing this cheese. And yep, on his way. Now this is the sub area that we were talking about here. This is the one that doesn't make the cut for any percent. So this lava bubble does have to go on a little bit of a journey through, going along these little pathways. And this part especially is very treacherous. You don't want to fall here, otherwise you do go back to the beginning of the sub area and have to traverse the entire thing.
Yep. Alright, so Tylo making short work of the sub area, and then they're going to be grabbing these last moons like any percent. However, I must say, for myself, something came up, and I do have to leave for now. Not gonna be able to finish the commentary, unfortunately, but it was fun. Thanks for having me, and yeah, see you guys.
No problem, Gannon. Thank you for joining me for the brief moment that you were. Have yourself a good day, sir.
Yep, see ya. No problem.
All right, just you and I and the runners here chat as we approach the end of this Luncheon Kingdom. So MiiWii having a little bit of difficulty with this sub area, as you can see, didn't get the optimal jump out of the lava there, so he had to back it up by grabbing a new fireball, and he is going to be making his way through. And just a little bit of spaghetti, and this is what I mean by getting your practice in for this sub area. It really does go to show just how kind of treacherous it can be and how scary it can be. And TiloTech extending his lead as a result. I do believe that both of these guys are on PB pace, though, with Tylo taking the lead. And now we are still not even quite halfway through this run. It's very important to note, even though this looks like we are towards the end of the main storyline of the game, we are barely reaching the halfway point of the run itself. 48 minutes in. We're looking at PBs in this category of an hour and 48 minutes, an hour and 50 minutes, an hour and 52 minutes. So just about anything can still happen. The post-game especially is a very tricky place because a lot of these guys do come from any percent, and as a result are probably more used to the beginning part of the game and not the end part of the game. So as you can see, TiloTech actually messing up a little bit of this movement here, looking to get up on top of the stage, and actually very, very risky there, opting for the wall jump to save himself and get up to the top and into the ruined fight. MiiWii is going to be following suit here. You do notice that they are just grabbing that treasure chest underneath the stairs, and that is also just a very quick moon that they can grab. Having a little bit of difficulty finding Captain Toad there, but he does find him just fine. Yeah, MiiWii going to be approaching this movement here, kind of going for his own little movement strategies here to get underneath the stairs. Going to be grabbing this moon, and there is what we like to call Neo-Dram that you can perform here, doing a cap return jump to get up on top of the stage and pull the peg in order to arrive at the arena in a swift manner. So MiiWii actually with a little bit better optimized movement there than TiloTech was able to do. And now they're both in the Ruin fight. And this would be time for the Ruin Trash Talk section. I think that I might be a little bit rusty on my own part. I'm also missing my Limcube counterpart as far as this particular section goes. But, you know, this is the most exciting part of the game, of course. Just about anything can happen in this riveting gameplay. You know, if somebody takes about 20 seconds to pull a sword, anything could happen. But it isn't going to be TiloTech. He does have the last one pulled. The Ruin Dragon is defeated. MiiWii the next to kind of face off against it. Now, I suppose this is as good a time as any to kind of promote our content here. There are lots of links below the stream if you're watching on desktop that you can participate in supporting Global Speedrun Association. If you are feeling so generous to subscribe to the channel, you can do so for free with Twitch Prime, which is attached to Amazon, or you can do so for just a measly sum of $5 a month. And of course, helping out GSA helps promote the content, helps promote future events such as PACE that will be happening at least once a year. So your support is always appreciated. If you guys want to see what is coming up in the future of Global Speedrun Association, there's also a button for the schedule, so you can see exactly what is happening going on in the future. We are approaching the Season 2 beginnings. As of July, we will be hosting some preliminary tournaments to see who qualifies for the next season of Global Speedrun Association, including a Super Mario Odyssey Any% League that is underway very, very shortly. So make sure you stay tuned for that if you are interested in Super Mario Odyssey races. Yeah, MiiWii in the chat saying that he's actually 2 minutes ahead of his race against Stravos, so a very solid performance from both of these runners, not to be understated. But Tylo does indeed have the lead here. Now, Bowser's Kingdom is another one of those ones. We actually do revisit Bowser's Kingdom here, but there are quite a few very speedy moons that we can grab along the way. And so we're going to be seeing that here. You can see Tylo actually going out of his way to get the, as we call it, the Pokeodram moon, the one behind the wall. That is just because it is pretty fast, very, very barely makes the cut for Any%. You can actually basically make a personal choice between this one and the Crate Moon, the corridor under the floor, as they call it. But in this category, we're going to get both. As you can see, setting up for that Pokeodram on MiiWii's part there. Now, the rest of this shards movement here is going to look very similar to what it does in Any%. Grabbing this first one really quick. TiloTech setting up for the triple jump into the dive back strategy. Very solid there from TiloTech. Good stuff. Making his way over to the roof. Grabbing this shard here. Taking a bit of a bonk, unfortunately, on his way to the fourth one. But is setting up just fine. But it is actually going to change here. We're going to bust open this final shard, but we're also going to bust open this to grab another quick moon hidden underneath this block here. And TiloTech's movement through this Bowser's Kingdom has been very, very solid so far, giving MiiWii a bit of a run for his money. He's going to have to play at his best to catch up here. And one sneaky little moon hidden in a little bit of a treasure alcove behind these turrets. And this pipe is actually going to very conveniently take us right where we need to go in order to commence the story here. MiiWii's movement for the shards. Doing the very optimal roll cancel jump over the top. A little bit sloppy on the performance there, but that's okay. He's going to be making his way through just fine. And we're not going to be seeing any Bowser Dram strategies from TiloTech here. Going about this the safer way. And also going to be grabbing these quick moons here. And now these particular GSA moons, they do exist either in the first visit to Bowser's or the second. Of all of the big kingdoms that do exist in this game, the Bowser's Kingdom is actually the one kingdom that we do revisit. It is a bit of a bigger, sprawling kingdom, but we do make a bit of a quick stop to it after we come through the painting in Cascade. All of this will be revealed as we approach the post-game. But TiloTech is the first to approach the bunnies fights here. And not going for any immediate hits on the hats. Just going for the tried and true safety methods here. Not going out of his way to collect any coins, but like I said, we only need 200 if we're collecting all 4 hint arts, so this is not a big deal. TiloTech's Bowser's Kingdom still looking incredibly solid. Opting for top or second. Shoutouts to Harry at First Gang in the chat. Definitely the optimal strategy, as, of course, if you're playing all purple coins, which is one of the objectively best categories in this game, going Harry at First is actually the most optimal. So, I don't think we have any qualms about that, do we, chat? MiiWii approaching the Harriet fight. So they are within, you know, a good 2 minutes of each other still. If they're fighting the Brutals at the same time, then it does imply that there is still a very, very coverable distance. And now, just like any percent, we're going to see these guys go around the back into the crates, grab this quick moon. And now, an interesting thing is that there is indeed a couple more moons that we can get in Bowser's Kingdom along the way. It'll be important that these guys don't forget to grab them. We've already seen it in this Dark Side tournament that some moons have been kind of forgotten about. TiloTech going to be demonstrating right away where these moons are. So the Ogre breaking open that box, revealing a moon, going to be recapturing this Pokio and then kind of continuing along with the route. But at the top, he's going to have to remember to keep his Pokio active, keep it alive, keep it with him on the way over to this final destination. And the reason for that is that there is another moon very sneakily hiding behind the wall. And Tylo showing off his little bird dancing strategies. And on his way to the fight now. There is another moon hiding just in Bowser's nose here. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, he's going to be grabbing it first. Like I said, there is a revisit to Bowser's Kingdom, so it doesn't really matter which time you get this moon in particular. You kind of just build a habit for one or the other. And then finally now into the Robo Brutal fight. TiloTech with the climb. Very solid execution, getting on the pegs, getting the backflips in on time, getting his wall jump. And the second hit on topper, very good stuff. Goryuya mech at its finest. Now he's just got to accomplish the third and fourth hits. Now we'll see if he goes for this target acquired strategy that has kind of become the mainstream staple of this Robo Brutal fight. He is indeed setting up for it. Getting that first hit on Harriet, and it really does come down to this final hit. The dives are well spaced and target acquired. Very nicely done by TiloTech. MiiWii also dancing around with his Pokio. Getting a little burp dance on. Nobody going for the optimal strategy of coming across the top of the stage. something that we've affectionately referred to as Fast Timpani Neo Poke Dram. But it can be kind of hard to line yourself up. So it does not surprise me that they would take the kind of safer approach. Oh, I see. Okay. MiiWii going for a little bit of a capture warp strategy here. Very nice. Probably wasted more time trying to set it up than was worth, but that is okay. He's finally on his way to the Robo Brutal fight here. And MiiWii's climb also extremely good, extremely impressive. At the top level, this is kind of the hardest strat. This is the hardest part of the Robo Brutal fight for a lot of people, is getting that climb to work consistently for you. But TiloTech grabbing one quick moon hidden in behind the Odyssey on an iron fence. And now he's on his way to the Moon Kingdom. And the Moon Kingdom does house a couple of fast moons on its own as well. So before we finish up the main core elements of the game... Oh, MiiWii not able to get the target acquired strategy, trying to go for the hit on Spewart and actually falling down as a result. And so he's going to have to back this up, and very unfortunate time loss from MiiWii. He's just bleeding time away now. And he's going to have to hope for a really good setup with this Harriet hit. As long as he's able to make it back onto the mech without touching the ears, he's going to be just fine. Finishing up the fight, losing probably about 20 seconds as a result of that mess up, but playing it safe, not going for Harriet third, and he has finished the fight. TiloTech is coming across, though, and TiloTech is pulling ahead further and further now. So yeah, immediately out of the Moon Kingdom, we're going to see TiloTech going for these moons. There are a lot of very quick moons available to us in the Moon Kingdom, but we don't need to revisit this kingdom at all. So we're going to get them in this one and only visit. That moon just very, very precariously hiding behind the Odyssey. We're going to follow it up with this bunny here. If you don't get that bunny on that very first catch, he can be very tricky to follow down. So good on Tylo for nabbing that catch. There's also a moon hiding in this rock here that we're just going to bust open. And now, perhaps one of the most precarious elements of this entire run is coming up right here. This triple jump across the gorge. You kind of have to vector your jumps in a way that you land on both of those platforms. It can be very tricky to manage, but TiloTech getting it just fine. And not going for any double flower strategies that are possible. If you get both of those rocket flowers, you don't have to do what Tylo's doing here and kind of double back towards that other flower. But he is on his way. Mooncave skip coming up here. The setup looks good. On the top of the head, bouncing off the cap. Going for no cap throw on the second jump there. Working out just fine. Doing a bit of a side flip, a little bit of a risky strat, but he's going to be okay. And he's going to be rolling in towards the cathedral now. He's running away with this Moon Kingdom. Very, very good stuff, that strategy. Getting up to the White Spire, not having to do any ledge grabs or anything like that. Very good stuff from Tylo, and the first to approach the Bowser fight. Meanwhile, MiiWii just approaching the Moon Kingdom for the first time here. Finally making his way through. We'll see if he's able to make some ground in the Moon Kingdom. He's going for this triple jump across the gorge, which is the optimal way of going about it. Good stuff, grabbing the bunny. Oh, but he sent the bunny the wrong way. So he has captured the bunny. He did have to go and chase him down around this way, which is a little bit unoptimal. Tylo having no problem with the Bowser fight. On the second phase. Backflip looks good. He's got the hat, and he is going to be punching Bowser. One more hit for TiloTech to be finished with the Bowser fight, and he will be on to the escape. And just like any percent, of course, I don't think that the nerves are quite as high in a long category when you get to this point. I know in any percent when I get here, of course, if I'm on PB pace, the stakes are very, very high. But in a situation like this, you kind of know that you still have about 40 minutes left of game to do. So the stakes might not be quite as rough as they are in a short category. He is down to 1 heart, though. And he is going to be grabbing the hat and finishing off this fight. As long as he's able to dodge the tail swipes, he is going to be good for this fight. Looks good by TiloTech. On his way now to the escape. MiiWii's got the Mooncave skip. Not going for any single jump strategies, just doing a backflip to get up on the top of the stage. And then rolling into the Cathedral himself here. Ooh, taking a bonk. Going right directly towards the wall is not the strategy you want to do there. You kind of want to from an angle, otherwise you do have the possibility to bonk and fall all the way down. But he does back it up just fine. TiloTech into the escape now. 2D section coming up. 2D skip on the line here. Let's see if he gets it. Jump 1, jump 2, and around the corner. He's good to go. No problems there. And out of the 2D section, just has the pillar room ahead of him now. It appears that Windows is attacking the stream. Don't think it's on my end. We look to be okay on my end. But Windows making a guest cameo appearance in this race. TiloTech's pillar room looking pretty solid. Did get that first pillar just fine. A little bit of errant shots for this third pillar though, so he's going to have to back it up with a swipe. TiloTech is approaching the end of this early game. Very solid exit. Going to be finishing with a 107, which is still potential PB pace for TiloTech if he's able to play the late game really solid. This is looking pretty good for him so far. MiiWii, on the other hand, just entering this escape sequence, so we can be looking at something along the lines of 2 minutes, maybe 2.5 minutes of difference between these runners so far, as long as MiiWii is able to keep it together through this escape. Tylo shooting out of the wire at about 107.50, so we will be keeping that in mind as MiiWii approaches the end of this early game. Tyler, now just sitting through the credits, there's not a whole lot you can do to skip all of these kind of cutscenes. But we will be trying our best. And we're going to do some shenanigans in Moon Kingdom. And if you're familiar with any percent run, are in place to you. But there are a couple of quick moons here that we can do. MiiWii, for the fans, going for the XD skip, and he does get it. Solid attempts from MiiWii here. Entering the pillar room. Now, as you can see, TiloTech getting a couple quick moons here, going into the shop. Something that was recently added into the route as a result of 1.3's loads being fast. Just about any shop has been increased significantly in value as a result of these 1.3 loads being extremely powerful. And MiiWii firing his last fireballs at this pillar. One more to go, and he is through. busting open the pillar. And he's going to be finishing with something in the ballpark of a 110. Probably going to be a 2 flat or maybe even a 19. So yes, we're looking at a difference of about 2.5 minutes between these runners so far. Tylo having a very solid Mushroom Kingdom here, getting that timer challenge just fine. Going to be capturing this Goomba. And the infamous Goomba jump is coming up here. So we're going to be scaring a Toad out of this little cubby hole here, grabbing a quick moon, and then setting ourselves up for the scary Goomba jump. Now, this kind of plays with the game's physics. We're basically using the Goomba's jump momentum. Ooh, that was a very, very close attempt. Using the Goomba's jump momentum to carry you across a jump that you probably shouldn't be able to. Abusing the hill's physics a little bit there. But Tylo's going to get it just fine. And getting himself up on the top of this castle to grab this quick moon, sitting on the top of the flagpole. And he's going to be talking to this Toad. And because it's in Japanese, you might not really understand what it is that he's accomplishing there. But by talking to that Toad is basically telling you, Princess Peach has been saved, but we can't find her. We don't know where she is. She's gone off on an adventure or something, and we're very scared. We're very worried about her. And by talking to that Toad, we actually trigger Peach appearing in all of the kingdoms in the rest of the game. And talking to Princess Peach just so happens to be pretty quick for some moons later on. So we will be doing that, taking care of that. And into Cap Kingdom. And now this is another kingdom that if you're an any percent boy... Oh, MiiWii having a little bit of trouble with the bunny. For some reason, this bunny works very strangely and doesn't actually like to be captured if you are rolling into it. A bit of a weird mechanic for this rabbit in particular. So MiiWii learning that the hard way. But yeah, Cap Kingdom starts off right out of the gate. Some very, very tricky movement. TiloTech making it look easy, clearing the jump across the gap to get to this moon rock. And these moon rocks are very important. These moon rocks open up a lot of very quick moons within these small kingdoms that are very easy to grab. And so we'll be making use of them here. One of the first things we do is go and talk to our good friend Captain Toad. What a fantastic lad he is. Where would we be without Captain Toad? That is the question. He really has done a lot for the Mario series. TiloTech getting that moon. Oh no, MiiWii going for the Goomba jump. Didn't get quite the distance that he needed and killing his Goomba in the process, so he's going to have to come back down and grab another one. Each fail of this is very similar to Snowdram. You're going to be losing somewhere between like 15 and 20 seconds for each fail. But he does get it on the second try. No issues here. TiloTech making his way through the Cap Kingdom, getting this timer challenge. And now it'll be interesting to see what route he goes for here. There are a couple of variances that you can do, but the most optimal one involves taking a very scary jump to catch a bird on time in a cycle. But we do need to make a very scary jump. So we'll see if Tylo is going to be attempting this one. Yep, getting the jump. Oh, didn't get the optimal wall slide there. Sometimes this game kind of messes about with you and makes it very hard to do some wall jumps if you don't have the proper timing. But yes, he is up to the shop. Going to be buying this moon here, which is going to put him in a very specific spot on the ground right in front of the shop. And from here, we need to do a jump across the gap. Oh, I see. So TiloTech actually going to be going for a little bit of a safer strat here, going for the Goomba. Probably the smart move. Probably the smart move. This bird flying by can be very tricky to grab. You can, in fact, do this without the Paragoomba. Wow, actually just avoiding him entirely. They were literally holding hands, but the bird did not want to let go of the moon there. But as you can see, making his way through. MiiWii going to be approaching this jump here. Ooh, going for the triple jump. Very stylish stuff. Able to land on the railing. Oh, okay. Taking it very safe. Landing on the sign instead of just jumping off of it. And he is going to be making it across as well. So all is good here. See if TiloTech goes for this jump. Yes, he does. Opting for the dive back strategy to get this key, which is optimal. You can finish this timer challenge in one less cycle of these blocks as a result of that. He's going to be wanting to grab Cappy back now in order to set himself up for this upcoming moon hidden in the sign. And after this, MiiWii, it looked like he looked at his map just to make sure he was going in the proper direction to get this moon hidden in the fog. But TiloTech just has a couple more moons left to go in the Cap Kingdom. He's going to be jumping back to the mainland here, catching this bunny up on the hill with no problems there. And down back towards the Odyssey, the first to leave Cap Kingdom. Still holding on a very commanding lead. As a result of his safety strats in the Cap Kingdom, TiloTech is definitely setting himself up for a success, for a win in this race. Cap Kingdom can be one of the toughest to do at the most optimal level, so in a race setting, if you're not comfortable with those strats, it is definitely worth to kind of play it safe, play it easy, and it definitely pays off for Tylo here. MiiWii, on the other hand, may want to go for some of these riskier strats to try and make up some time. It's hard to say. But now the next kingdom to visit is Lake Kingdom. And just like Cap, we're going to be looking to open up the moon rock as soon as we possibly can, because there are a lot of very fast moons that do exist within the Lake Kingdom once we open up the moon rock. It is another really important reason as to why we went about beating Rango in the first place. Nice, solid, quick movement there from TiloTech to get the moon rock open. MiiWii having to struggle with the bird in this Cap Kingdom. This bird is infamous for being a master quarterback, an epic dodger, will DQ out at any given moment, and so I had to chase it down a little bit. Now looking at this hint art, very important stuff. That hint art is going to be of very valuable use in Cascade later on. Alright, now TiloTech is racing against the clock here. After having activated that moon with the timer challenge, he does have to grab the moon from the dory, and he is going to be missing the timer challenge, unfortunately. A little bit too slow on his execution here, so he is going to have to swim back up, do the swim of shame, start this timer challenge again, and try and go for this moon. So he did just lose probably about 20 seconds as a result of this particular mistake, so giving MiiWii a little bit more room to breathe. But not the hugest deal, still flying through the stage, or should I say swimming, rather. We're going to see him activate this Pillar Moon and then leave it for a while. And it used to be that we would go down into the water and talk to Captain Toad, grab an extra fast moon that does exist down in the deep, but that is actually just on the cusp of being too slow. So instead we're just going to go into this sub area here, or not sub area, the secret room as we like to call it. Come back out, grab this moon now. And MiiWii finally making his way into Lake Kingdom. Looks like he had a very execution of Cap Kingdom. is going to be keeping up with Tylo pretty well, especially if he's able to nail that timer challenge. He will be making up quite a bit of ground. But yeah, TiloTech on his way through. Just has a couple quick moons to get in Lake before he's on his way. So this one hiding in the pillar, this one hiding in the crate. And we'll see how he goes about this upcoming timer challenge here. It has been very interesting to watch this whole tournament unfold, because Darkside is a relatively untouched category. There's a lot of potential here. And some of these runners are really taking to it and really able to kind of burst through and show their potential. MiiWii looking at that hint art, very important. Very solid movement from TiloTech there, coming in with the roll boosts out of spin pounds. One quick Goomba Moon here, and on his way out. And we're going to be going to the Cascade Kingdom. Now, I didn't see there. It looked like MiiWii must have grabbed the timer challenge and then come back up to grab the Dory Moon afterwards. But he was able to make it work just fine. Probably still going to be saving some time over TiloTech's method there. It can be very hard to time getting the Dory Moon alongside the timer challenge as well. The timing is quite tricky. But now we're in Cascade. And Cascade, this is a very unique route. I think Cascade 2 is probably one of my favorite parts of the Darkside route, in my opinion. Making a very interesting use of the kingdom in general. Looks like we're talking to Princess Peach right away. Quick timer challenge here, doing some triple jumps to get up here. There are a couple of sneaky fast moons hiding up on top of this kind of Madame Brutal fighting arena here that we're going to grab. Before moving on. Captain Toad waiting for us on the ledge. Shoutouts to Captain Toad. Again, what a legend. Where would we be without Captain Toad? One quick moon in the rock here. We're going to see TiloTech go up to this dinosaur. And he's going to be purposefully busting open this rock on the right side. And the reason he does this is so that he can expose a ground pound spot later on. Also using the dino to bust open this rolling rock. Sometimes using the dino to bust open the rolling rock can be a little bit faster. Taking a bonk on his ascent here, not a huge deal. Into a triple jump. Coming back up to break this ground pound spot. And then traverse the rest of Cascade. And we're kind of doing a little bit of a figure eight through the Cascade Kingdom here. Coming up underneath the bridge, there is indeed one fast moon sitting up above these cloud platforms that we're going to get. Then we're going to go for a hat skip and a jump across the gorge here. This is one of the scariest moons in this entire route, in my opinion. These cloud platforms are notoriously finicky, can sometimes steal your cap throw when you don't want them to. And once Cappies hit them, you don't get your cap throw back, so it can be a little bit daunting to deal with, but Tylo's going to be managing just fine. Oh, missing the note there. He's going to have to hustle to get to the end. He is going to be doing just okay here. Finishing off the timer challenge. As long as he gets the timer challenge, is not a big deal. Coming in behind the waterfall for another sneaky moon. And MiiWii having a little bit of trouble with this timer challenge, hitting the edge of it, taking a bonk, but still going to be finishing it off just in time. And now, upcoming here is a moon that is giving a lot of runners some trouble. This Chain Chomp is notoriously finicky. Tylo not actually going for the strats. There is a way to make this a little bit more consistent. If you're looking at this right now, you might be thinking, oh, the aiming on this is terrible. And that is because it is. But we have developed a strategy that is a little bit more consistent. We didn't see Tylo go for it there. He just kind of aimed and hoped for the best. But it is going to work for him in the end, I suppose. Grabbing this moon on the edge of the bridge. And coming back up to collect that moon before we ascend back down the kingdom. And now that hint art that we looked in Lake just before we got here is going to come into play here. Ground pounding this spot, revealing a moon. We're going to be going off towards the shop and grabbing a couple quick moons before we have to leave Cascade. Still just moseying right along through the dark side run here. The difference between these two runners still looking to be probably in the ballpark of about 2 minutes, with TiloTech in the lead. Now we see TiloTech is going to be grabbing this Scarecrow timer challenge. Going to be grabbing this moon. One more moon you can see in the glowing spot underneath the bridge, and then on his way to Bowser's Kingdom through the painting. Just so happens that there is a handful of very quick Bowser moons that we can get after opening up the moon rock. So we are going to take a quick jaunt through there. Starting with this one right outside the painting. And back down to break open the moon rock. So very important. Sometimes it can be important to miss the fact that these guys are collecting some checkpoints and things along the way. These checkpoints mostly have a purpose. The reason that we're getting these checkpoints is so that we can come back to them at a later time. Now we see MiiWii actually does go for this strategy here, and he's going to be breaking open the rock perfectly on the first go, and that is exactly why we do it. This strategy was developed by a community member named Schultzar, and we don't really know why it works. It just kind of does. You line up you line it up in a certain way, and you just break it open. Otherwise, you could be spending, 8 or 10 attempts trying to break open that particular fossil piece, and it can be very frustrating. TiloTech making his way through Bowser's Kingdom in a speedy fashion here. Just grabbing a couple quick moons along the way. Nothing really too difficult as far as the moons are concerned here. Nice little spin throw strategy to knock down the nice frame. But as we enter the arena, things are going to get a little bit interesting. So after he's grabbed this moon, he's going to be taking the wire back up into the arena. And the first thing he's going to want to do is capture this bunny. This bunny on the right side is actually going to be housing a moon of its own. Tylo nabbing it just fine. And this upcoming timer challenge is one of the most interesting in my opinion. The movement for it can be very, very slick, but it is a it's a hard timer challenge to get down. And also an easy one to miss. If you make mistakes, it can run out pretty fast. So we'll see how he does. Ooh, missing the ground pound spot. He's going to have to go for a little adventure to try and find it. Put on the third try, not a big deal. And opting for a triple jump strategy here. Not going for any spin pounds, but he is going to be making the moon in time. Doesn't have to worry about trying the timer challenge again. And now we enter this sub area here. And now this sub area, if you've played this game casually, you can remember P switches on the ground. You're basically using this GSO to go on an adventure, essentially. Continue along into the left part of the room, the right part of the room. Try and figure out a way to basically get two GSOs together so that you can get up to the top of the stage. We don't actually have to do that. If you know how to use Cappy effectively, we can just open that one space and make our way through the kingdom just fine. And that's what we're going to do. And so now warp down to the shop. Princess Peach is a nice quick moon here. Also going to be going into the shop, I imagine, for a quick moon in Bowser's. And like I mentioned before, some of these shop moons did not exist in the previous Dark Side route, but with the crazy loads that 1.3 has brought about, it does make them a little bit faster and a little bit more manageable. So we're going to be going in there, grabbing that, coming on out. And Tylo is almost done through Bowser's Kingdom now. And MiiWii also has arrived in Bowser's Kingdom. He's doing the first portion of it right before the arena. Tylo getting bullied by these Spinies. Having a really difficult time. But it does look like he's going to be alright. He's going to be grabbing this second Pokio in behind the wall for another couple quick moons. See how he does these notes. Not bad execution there. MiiWii still trying to keep the pace, but Tylo really not giving him any ground. It is all TiloTech from here. And as we approach the last 15-ish minutes of the run, it is really going to come down to execution. And if Tylo is able to hold on... Oh, missing the bird there. So there is a little bit of RNG in this bird here. The bird can kind of look in a bunch of different directions. And he got the wrong one there. But no big deal. He's on his way. And now, perhaps one of the scariest kingdoms in this entire run waits for the end. Lost Kingdom. Now, if you're an any % runner, you're already scared of this particular kingdom because this purple poison does exist all around the kingdom. But Dark Side and Darker Side ramp this kind of edge up to 11. Lost 2 is one of the most kind of grueling parts of the entire run, and you're going to see why in just a moment. So nothing really fancy here. Just grabbing a shop moon, talking to Princess Peach, and then we're going to be busting open the moon rock again. This is a small kingdom. And by busting open the moon rock, we expose to ourselves quite a lot of free moons hanging out in the open. And so it is in our best interest to go ahead and do that. And here is where the journey begins. Grabbing this moon from behind. Looks like he's just going to opt for the damage boost strategy for this Trapetal. It is a little bit faster to kind of make him move over to the side and break open the block the same way they do in any percent. But it doesn't look like he's going to be going for that here. Grabbing these any percent moons in kind of reverse order. And now is where the treachery begins. We're going to be spending a lot of the next part of Lost Kingdom hanging precariously over this poison. Tylo managing that very fancy little jump out of the toad hole into this moon here. And now he's going to be starting to collect moon shards. A couple of very precarious long jumps over the poison, getting the moon shard in there with a hat throw, avoiding the use of wigglers entirely. And finishing off just fine. Looking to manipulate the camera a little bit there to avoid the camera shifting as much as it needs to. But perhaps the hardest part of Lost Kingdom coming up right here. This Notes moon and the Bunny moon afterwards can be very precarious. Let's see, he's actually going to opt to use the Wiggler for this upcoming Notes moon. This is the intended way, and very much the safest way. So kind of making the trail with the Wiggler, going across the platforms. Not the fastest way to go about this at all, but definitely the safest. It is also makes it very easy to capture the bunny, and you're going to see why in just a second here. By just like stretching the Wiggler across, he's able to catch the bunny no matter which direction it goes. So solid plan from TiloTech there. Gonna be grabbing this moon as well. And you notice that he knocked down that side of the stairs so that he's able to get the Trapetal's attention, grab this moon very quickly. And he's almost out of Lost Kingdom. The scary part is almost over, folks. He just has one more timer challenge to finish in order to get out of here. Meanwhile, MiiWii, finally approaching the Lost Kingdom, does have the first couple moons in Lost 2. Going to be making his way through and see if he is able to accomplish what TiloTech has. Yeah, Tylo's got to be very happy with that Lost Kingdom. He might have played it a little bit safe in places, but definitely worth to keep his lead in this race and to pull out a potential PB. He only has to go now to the Mushroom Kingdom and then on to Darkside, and he will be taking this. As far as I can tell, he is still on PB pace. TiloTech's PB is a 149. Mushroom Kingdom is going to be just a couple of minutes, and then the Darkside is going to be somewhere in the ballpark of about 6 minutes. So still very possible PB for TiloTech here. Just going to grab a couple quick moons before we make our way into the castle for probably the most riveting part of the entire run. Anybody who's familiar with Odyssey runs that go into the post-game is familiar with our good friend Toadette. Toadette is a champion. Not quite as much of a champion as Captain Toad, of course. But, that being said, she does have some gifts for us for having accomplished some arbitrary tasks. This is the reason that we needed to collect 1,000 coins. This is the reason that we needed to, grab some checkpoints. This is the reason that we needed to do a whole bunch of things. Toadette is going to reward us for these. The only kind of unfortunate thing is that she's going to reward us for these one at a time. So, buckle your seatbelts, chat. This is going to be a bumpy one. We can focus on MiiWii in the meantime, making his way through Lost Kingdom with some interesting movement here. I think he might have died. He must have taken a death somewhere, because he is making his way all the way back up to the propeller pillars here. Unfortunate. And he's actually going to be trying to go for these Notes Moons without the Wiggler. Maybe this is the reason. Ooh, that spin throw into the dive. Very risky, but does manage to pull out the Moon here. Now he's got to catch the bunny. Trying to deke it out, but not having very good success here. But he does manage to grab the bunny just okay. And he's actually going to be going for this Trapedal right away. Lining it up. No fancy long jump across strats that we saw TiloTech go for. But MiiWii is very, very close to being out of Lost Kingdom. Just a couple more moons to get. But the penultimate moment of this entire run is going to be coming up. And if this particular tournament is anything to be considered, this race could still be very far from over. We have the Dark Side Boss Rush still to go. And it'll be interesting to see that maybe if TiloTech wants to maintain this win, he might just go for the Life Up Heart to take it safe, to make sure that he has enough health to get him through the fights. But both of these guys powering up the Odyssey balloons at the exact same time. Very, very cool timing there. TiloTech exactly one kingdom ahead. Into the Dark Side Boss Rush now for him. It would be very wise for him to grab this Life Up Heart. If he doesn't, he has a very high level of confidence in himself, in his ability to make this happen for himself. We shall see. But he does have a very commanding lead. And even though his lead is probably somewhere in the ballpark of 3.5 minutes, if he were to die towards the end of this boss rush, it would all come crashing down, and MiiWii would take the lead. So it probably is in Tylo's best interest to grab this moon. We will see what he does. Opting not for it at all. Alright, it is do or die, chat. He has 3 health to make this happen. Starting off with Topper, which in my opinion is the hardest of the 3. Gets the first phase out of the way, no problem. And the second one, very, very nicely done. Topper's hats and getting those timings for those jumps is probably the hardest part of this entire run, in my opinion. One of the hardest, anyways. And so Tylo's done it. Probably the hardest part of this boss rush, too. Harriet is the next upcoming here. MiiWii is talking to Toadette, going through, grabbing his power moons. Does need a total of 15 moons to leave Mushroom and on his way to the Dark Side boss rush himself. And now he just has to hope for a miracle. It's up to TiloTech to make the mistakes. If MiiWii wants a chance to climb his way back in. And it's interesting to see the dynamic of this race. Through the early game, all the way through until about Lost Kingdom, MiiWii was coming out on top in every single one of those kingdoms. But as the game progressed, TiloTech was able to inch his way by. And just better performance, better execution, and less mistakes has led to this result so far. TiloTech taking care of Harriet here. Harriet is just about the same physics as the non-moon gravity ones. Probably the easiest to transfer over in terms of strategies. And as it stands now, I believe that TiloTech is still on PB pace for himself. He does have a 149. Of course, anything is possible. You definitely don't want to count out MiiWii here. TiloTech could take a fall in one of these fights. If something tragic happens and he takes a death, he does have to go all the way back to the beginning of the boss rush, which is what makes this part very excruciating in terms of time. One of the biggest time losses that you can accrue throughout the entire game, in fact. If you're playing all unique moons and you die towards the end of the boss rush, it's probably one of the biggest single time losses that you can accrue. Spirit, no problem at all. And now we see MiiWii finally entering the dark side dungeon himself. Taking the wire down. TiloTech did not lose any health in this, so you can see his confidence here. Did not need the life up hard at all. We'll see if MiiWii opts for it here. Nope, he's going to go for the fast strats. He's just going to avoid it entirely. Hanging in the balance. Hoping that he can get it done in 3 hearts. So TiloTech going for these Rango strats. Gets the final hit. Still has not taken any damage. MiiWii, meanwhile, is on Spewert. And this is what we're talking about here. Or not Spewert, sorry, Topper. This is what we're talking about here. All it really takes is one little slip from TiloTech. Even if he dies in the Robo-Brutal part, he does have to go all the way back to the beginning. So this race is not over. The fact that these guys are still within each other inside the boss rush is enough of evidence that this race could change at any moment. But Tylo the first to approach the Robo-Brutal fight. Going for a roll into a spin pound. That looked very quick. Ooh, and a second hit very, very fast from TiloTech. I've seen Stravos has actually developed a way to basically do the Goryuya mech in Darkside, which is fascinating stuff. Probably not going to see that from too many runners because you don't want to risk it right at the end. But Tylo's still getting very, very fast hits on that second bubble. The third hit looks great. Not going to be going for any Harriet third strategies in Darkside. Definitely not worth. Finishing off the fight with a final ground pound, and that is going to be it. TiloTech is definitively going to PB by nearly a minute here. And he's going to be taking the race. Now this race, lots hanging in the balance for this race. These guys are in Group D alongside Stravos. Stravos took both of the wins against both of these guys. And so the winner of this one will definitively move on into the playoff bracket alongside Stravos. TiloTech finishing up with a 148-19. Didn't actually stop his timer there. GG's to TiloTech, taking home the massive PB. And eliminating MiiWii from the tournament. He will be moving on into the next round. MiiWii, meanwhile, finishing up Spewert, just has Rango and the Robo-Brutal to finish off. Chat is telling me that we are actually looking at a PB from MiiWii as well. So as long as he's able to finish this out solid and not take a death, he will indeed move on to get a PB of his own. So Rango time. I would say this is probably the second hardest of the Brutals, but if you know the strats, if you know the timing, it is not a big deal. You can see MiiWii stalling in the air with a couple of swaggy strats. Ooh. Very, very luckily diving in the right direction. Actually... Ooh, but he is able to land the final hit. No big deal here. There is actually a health heart along the way that he can pick up, so he does have full health going into the Robo-Brutal fight, but very scary stuff. Just the Robo-Brutal fight in between him and the end now. Could be on pace for a low 152 still. Taking a bonk before entering the pipe. Just a little bit of time loss here. And into this Robo-Brutal fight. Gonna be climbing up with a dive into a spin pound. Gonna be going for the right side first. Now this would be the kind of penultimate setup for that that hit on Topper early, like they do in the Bowser fight. MiiWii not being able to set that up quite the same. That's okay. Getting the hit just fine. And now just has to wait for the Robo-Brutal to do his invulnerable state. The time is ticking away. It does look like MiiWii could still potentially get a PB here. Oh no, but he's actually going to be ground pounding on the side of the platform and missing the hit. So he's going to have to do a climb back up. He is going to be hitting the bubble, going to be having to try and climb back up onto the top. And he is going to get the final hit, finishing off the fight, waiting for this agonizingly long cutscene to play out as the time ticks away. But it does look like MiiWii will probably be able to come in with a PB. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to nab the 151 this time. But it will be a PB of several seconds at least. Finishing off with a 152.03 on MiiWii's part. A difference between these runners of about 3.5 minutes. TiloTech, the ultimate victor in this one. GG's to both runners. Very solid effort put in between the two of them. As a result of this, from Group D, Stravos, 96, and TiloTech will be moving on into the playoff round. And MiiWii will be eliminated. But a very solid effort from everybody. And of course, tournaments like these always bring out the best of a category. If you have been intrigued by Darkside, if you enjoy seeing Darkside as a category that is, it's kind of an extended any percent, you know? If you want to see any percent, but you also want to see a little bit of the post game as well, this is an excellent category to kind of get your feet wet. So definitely recommend, if you guys are interested in that, to try it for yourselves. This tournament still has a lot of action underway. There is one more preliminary round run to go between Ekwon and Mitch. So we will be seeing that in a couple of days. There are no interviews today, unfortunately. We are running a little bit short on time. But coming up right after this, we do have some Super Mario Bros. 3 action for you. The Haxor versus TX for the bronze match of Super Mario Bros. 3. So stay tuned for that in just about 2 hours. Until then, my name is Dangerous. This has been Global Speedrun Association, and I will see you next time.